Welcome back to J-Max Customs. Today, my brother jumped on eBay Motors and picked up a bumper grill guard for his little Nissan that he just got. And I don't know if this is for a Titan or I don't know if it was mismarked. They sent him the wrong one or whatever. But it's about 4 inches too wide on each side. It's too tall. The mounts didn't work. We cut them up and tried to make them work, and that didn't work. This thing is a pile of you know what. He brought it to me, told me to build a bumper for it. So I got the tabs cut out for the frame here, and I got this 4x2 14 gauge piece of square tubing up here. And now I'm working on building a bracket that will go from this plate out. It's going to encompass this 4x2, and then it'll shift up kind of like this one over here does. I'm not going to come out this far because we don't need that. He's not going to put a winch behind it, so I don't know why they did that in the first place. They put the winch mounts vertical, which when you buy a winch, it tells you not to do that. The winch would have fit behind the original bumper. The biggest thing that he wants to do is be able to tie a rope to this after he ropes a calf to tag it after it's born here on the ranch. And we want to keep all of the grass and everything out of the radiator the best we can. It's going to look a lot like the front of Slingshot. After he saw that, he was like, yeah, just build me something like that. Then once we get that foundation built, we'll run tubes between the uprights, and then I'll build a little bit of a hoop out here just to protect the headlight and everything in case a cow gets kind of bronky and decides to run into the side of the pickup. It doesn't just break all the plastic off of it. So you just never know here on J-Max Customs. One day we're building an off-road wrecker or a tow rig, and the next thing you know, we get in a vehicle off the ranch to build a bumper grill guard. We'll get to fabricating that. Okay, got the second upright cut for this grill guard. Take it over here and test fit it. I already test fitted the first one, or I wouldn't have cut the second one. I filled my table with water, so now it makes them really ugly because it actually throws all that hot metal into the water and builds steam, and then that steam carries all the stuff off the top of the water and sticks to the bottom of your plate, so it makes it ugly. But it keeps all of the stuff out of the air. So there you go. That's gonna look pretty cool. Now when you are doing this, if you cut something like my J-Max Customs and Fabrication in here, you have to remember to transpose it. So this side is legible from this side, and then if you come over to this other side, it's legible from this side. See? And you just do a mirrored image, which on the plasma table you just hit I and then just rotate it around, and it'll flop it over to where it cuts it on transposed on the other side. Otherwise it's spelled backwards. It'll look like this from this side, and you don't want that. It just doesn't look professional. So there's a little tip for you. Okay, I'll get my welder set up. We'll tack the uprights and this 4x2 square tube together. Then I will cut an 1 3/4 inch tube for here, and then we're gonna put one here that'll run across there. That'll build us kind of the beginning of it. I'm thinking on the outside here, I was gonna have the square tube come through here, and then I was gonna tie into it with the square tube and come back. But I think a tube that'll tie in here, and I'll have a tube welded in here, and this one will come back here and kick back along the side. This one's just going to come in and tie into this one over here to strengthen it up. So you'll have that back there, and then my grill guard will come off of this one, and it'll go up and around and tie back into the top. And then down here on the bottom, I'm just going to have probably a tube that'll tie in here, and it's going to come out, and then it'll kick up and it'll tie in back here somewhere like this. So this out here is mostly just going to be tubing. I'm not going to close it in. All he's going to do is bounce this around the pasture and take calves out of it. We're going to keep with the KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what KISS stands for. Okay, Okay, I got the welder out and got the upright up here. Look how far I welded. See that little spot? That's how far I welded. And then it went boop, done. I had forgotten that when I was building the off-road wrecker. I ran out of wire in my other welder and I stole the roll out of this one. So that's why I have an extra now, because you just never know when you're gonna run out. So I will swap the rolls out on the old Miller here. This Miller 251, this is my old machine that I bought years and years and years ago, and it quit me, so I went and bought the newer one. I hate the newer one. I don't like the gun. I don't like that it kicks back in the program and sets a slow lead in on your wire, and then the wire pops and it welds to the tip. Does it all the time. I hate it. This old one right here, this 251, if I could trade my new one for this old one, I would do it every day of the week. So let's get some wire on this while the air compressor runs. All right. Got both uprights on here. Got the 4x2 square tube in the middle, and now we're going to put the two pipes across the middle here. When you do this, they might be really close to the same length, but you want to make sure that when you're working from like the inside out like this, that you kind of size them up. You don't want to put the long one in the middle. I mean, you could go back and, you know, and shave a 1/16 of an inch off or whatever. Put the shorter one in the middle and the long one on the outside. Then your pipe doesn't have to be deflected to get your middle pipe in. This one is just a hair longer than this. So by putting the longer one on the top here, then this bottom one remove freely, and I have a little gap to fill in. Put the longer one down here. So let's go ahead and tack these pipes in. I made the circles on these uprights to where you get the pipe, and then just enough room for a good weld around them. That one did not stick to the pipe. Okay, here we go. That's what we've got so far. I think I'm gonna call it a day. For a couple of hours worth of work, that's not bad. We'll come back to this tomorrow. I think as long as you can pop the hood. I'm looking at it and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you get your hand in there to pop the hood. Let's close the hood real quick and make sure. Pop the release on the hood here. See how close this is? You don't want to make it where you can't pop the hood. All right, looks good to me. I was here for an hour or so yesterday, but I forgot my camera at home. You can see that we're getting some hoops on the headlights. Got some outside stingers. I bent and cut this. I need to go and notch it, but it'll go in here like this. And then after that, I need to come off of in here somewhere out, probably to this pick point right here. That'll stiffen this up from getting tapped from the side. And then I'll have to put a 1/8" plate on my plasma table, and we'll cut a sheet for this whole middle piece here to protect the bottom of the radiator and to try and keep all the grass seed and everything from plugging up the radiator. Let's go over to the other shop, throw a notch into this tube here to where we can get it up under here and get it notched in there. I have the small tube here chalked up in my notcher. I'm at the bottom of the stroke, so I can put this in here to where it's just touching. Now we can move it in a little tighter, kick on the end mill, and just come around here, tighten it up a little bit more. Let's go one more time here. And it's just that easy. I don't have to fight with the drill trying to rip my arm off or anything like that. One of these days, we're going to design and build a whole chassis using my bender and notcher and my CAD that I have to design it all. I haven't brought that up yet, but I have a 2LS with a 4L80E that I am going to put in the black Jeep that we took to Sand Hollow over spring break. I'm going to take the drivetrain out of that Jeep and we're going to design our own race looking side-by-side. We're going to use the drivetrain, the little 3.8 out of that Jeep. That's going to be our powertrain. I'm going to use the axles and everything out from under that Jeep in that side-by-side. Let me know down in the comments how far up in the line of projects I should move that and how that's something that you'd like to see or not. It's something that I think that would be cool, and when I get around to gutting that Jeep, that will be what I do with that drivetrain. I don't know what else to do with it. Look at that, huh? It almost looks like I knew what I was doing. Okay, so I'm gonna build this straight piece of tube, get this plate designed and cut. I'll bring you guys back either when I'm hacking that plate in, or I'll bring you back and show you the finished product. The little straight tube and the finish weld and all of that stuff is pretty boring. The final product. So also, one of the improvements going on here at the shop, if we get monetized, go ahead and subscribe. You notice that, like, if I want to go to the other shop, I got to go for a walk. And one of the big improvements here at the shop is the little shop is 18 feet on the other side of this wall. And I want to close it in between the shops and make it to where I can walk from right here into the YouTube shop. So with your help, if you subscribe and make it to where we get monetized, that'll be an improvement to where it'll cut down on me walking back and forth, and I can make the videos a little bit quicker. So thanks. Bumper's all welded up, got the lower plate all on it there. Everything seems to be very, very stout. It's might save the front of this pickup, seeing as where there's so much plastic on it. Now he can tap something, and I left everything open. Him and my nephew, they rope the calves and tag them and stuff, and they always need somewhere to tie the rope. When the calf's out there, you know, somewhere to dally their rope off to. So I left everything open, like all of the tubes. They can tie a rope to pretty much anywhere on there, and it looks pretty sleek. Definitely looks like it matches the pickup and fits well, so I'm happy. Not a bad couple of evenings worth of work get that done. So the only thing I might change is he's got to take this and get some surface rust on it so that I can use that chassis black, because it likes to bite to rust. So we'll let it get some surface rust to it. The only thing I might add is I might put a bar from this pipe over to here just to make this hole smaller, because right now if you accidentally hit a deer or something, they would fit through there, and that kind of defeats the purpose. But mostly he wanted something to tie his lariat off to. We accomplished that, so it's all good. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next one. Like, share, and subscribe. Throw a comment in below.